Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to this new episode of Sudan in Focus weekly news magazine, which focuses on Sudan news and events, aims to give the Sudan TV audience a broad and first-hand information about what is going on in Sudan. So let's go.
This mobile footage, taken by a Rapid Support Forces fighter, shows the paramilitary inside Al-Sireha village in eastern Al Jazeera in central Sudan. Another mobile footage shows other fighters rounding up men, young and old, accusing them of being affiliated to Sudan's army. And in a third video, dead bodies lined up to be buried. It's a massacre, the man in the video says. More than 120 people have been killed in 4 days of attacks on Al-Sireha by the RSF. The group has been fighting the army for more than 18 months. The recent violence comes after its most senior commander in Al Jazeera state, Abu Aqla Kekel, defected to the army side. Dozens of other villages have also been attacked. Thousands have been displaced. Many have been reported missing. And Sudan's Center for Combating Violence Against Women says that nearly 40 women have been raped. RSF fighters say the attacks are a retaliation to Kekel's defection. Al-Sireha and other villages attacked by the RSF lie miles away from the nearest front line. It's not the first time the group has targeted villages in Al Jazeera state. When the RSF took over the capital and other villages in December and early January, local groups reported a wave of attacks on civilians. The UN has expressed concern over the recent RSF attacks and called for it to stop. But the group raided more villages on Sunday, resulting in more deaths and displacement in a state that was once a refuge to those fleeing from the RSF in Khartoum and now finds itself being emptied of its residents by the same group. Heba Morgan, Al Jazeera.
For 2 days, the Sudan Armed Forces have been bombarding the capital from the air and with artillery. The first attempt in more than a year to push the Rapid Support Force militia out of Khartoum. Soldiers have started to celebrate, but journalists close to the RSF say their joy is premature, as the militia is well dug in and won't be easily dislodged.
This is Khartoum Hospital, ear, nose and throat department, the cancer hospital, and as you can see, the city is calm. And behind me, you can see the Faculty of Medicine. We can give you an idea of what happened inside. Some buildings were damaged due to airstrikes and battles. But in general, central Khartoum is empty and calm.
The SAF control Omdurman, while the RSF control Khartoum and Khartoum North. In the last 2 days, the army claims to have retaken 2 bridges over the Nile, the Hal-Fire Bridge connecting Omdurman to Khartoum North, and the White Nile Bridge linking Khartoum to Omdurman. In New York, a few pro-army Sudanese greeted the army chief as he prepared to address the UN General Assembly. He says there'll be no further peace talks until the RSF withdraws from territory it occupies. In other words, until it surrenders.
We will not allow a ceasefire without a withdrawal. We refuse any ceasefire, whether it be in Al-Fashir or Khartoum, or in any other place. The forces have to withdraw from the homes of our citizens, from the roads and the areas that they have occupied.
Today he met the Russian foreign minister. After initially backing the RSF, Russia has changed sides, possibly in exchange for access to a naval base. In a deal that would require Russian approval, Algeria has reportedly offered Sudan 31 of its old MiG-29 fighter jets, as Russia updates the Algerian fleet. The head of the RSF, General Dagalo, has been reduced to tweeting out an address to the UN General Assembly in which he claimed he was ready to talk peace, presumably because he fears the military and diplomatic tide may be turning against him. None of this helps the victims of the war in Sudan. In South Kordofan, women displaced by the conflict boil up leaves to feed their children. They fled the war only to find hunger, and not everyone made it.
I'm scared of being here because I don't know if I will live or die. I just surrender to God. I might die like the others did on the road.
Both sides use food as a weapon. The Sudan Armed Forces frequently prevents aid convoys from travelling to stop food ending up in the hands of the RSF. As a result, millions of Sudanese are starving. Rodatia's son Khalil fell on their long journey to what she hoped would be safety. The staff at Karonko Hospital couldn't save him. One more victim of a futile war between cruel generals who care nothing for the Sudanese people, only for power.
Al-Nugara dance is considered one of the authentic Sudanese folk and traditional dances which famous in Kordofan region of Sudan. It's performed during celebration, weddings and official and public holidays, as well as in marriage ceremonies, circumcisions, victory and war. It is also used to announce readiness to attack the enemy. Additionally, it is used when a tribe member dies, to gather people for voluntary work and when moving from one area to another. Al-Nugara is widespread across Sudan under different names. Al-Nugara is a cylindrical instrument consisting of several drums of different sizes, carved from strong trees, roots and covered with cowhide. Sticks are used to play the drums, and the rhythms are not accompanied by any songs. The rhythms vary from one tribe to another. Al-Nugara has special accessories and clothing for men and women. The dance is performed in a circular formation with the person playing the drums in the center. There is a row of young men and women, and the dance involves moving the neck and stopping on the ground, requiring stamina and physical fitness. Men choose the women they dance with, and the women also chooses the men she dances with. Al-Nugara is one of the popular instruments in the Kordofan region, which brings the community together and strengthens the bond of brotherhood and good human relationships among family and tribe members.
The first economic conference to confront the challenges of war was held under the slogan "Together to Achieve Sustainable Economic Recovery" on November 19 to 20, 2024. The conference was sponsored by Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, Chairman of the Sovereignty Council, and under the supervision of the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Jibril Ibrahim. The participators is Chairman and members of the Sovereignty Ministers, Prime Minister and members of the Council of Ministers, State Governors, Executives from the center and the states, private sector, representatives of government and private companies, experts and specialists, academic and university representatives of regional and international organizations, media professionals and journalists, civil society organizations, and local communities. After the outbreak of the war in mid-April 2023, Sudan witnessed a deterioration in the levels of development and development capabilities, a severe imbalance in the productive structure of the economy resulting from the war, and a decline in the rates of national and foreign investments, which resulted in the cessation of the development process and increased dependence on imports. The Economic Conference aims to diagnose the economy, analyze all the problems resulting from the effects of the war, and propose appropriate solutions with a focus on aspects of development as an entry point to economic recovery, through a call to collect the ideas and opinions of experts from inside and outside Sudan, and how to take the advantage from them in order to reach the goals that the conference seeks to achieve it, and to thinking out of the box to exploit the country's resources so that the citizen can enjoy the blessing Allah has bestowed, and the country benefiting from foreign revenues in sustainable development. The first conference to confront the challenges of war concluded its session on Wednesday evening, November 20, 2024. The Minister of Finance and Economic Planning supervising the conference, Dr. Jibril Ibrahim, promised to pay attention to implementing its recommendation and creating a mechanism for implementation from the various ministers, and pointed to the integration of the effort of the Supreme Committee formed by the Sovereignty Council to prepare vision to reconstructions what was destroyed by the war. In the closing session of the conference, the minister promised to strongly support agriculture to set up production, and he emphasized the conference's recommendations regarding the necessity of increasing attention to both parts of the agricultural sector and paying attention to water, environmental health, and the gold sector, as well as important recommendations in the field of financial and monetary policy challenges in situation of war, enhancing the role of productive sectors and developing vital and service sectors. Marra Mountain or Jebel Marra of Darfur, West Sudan. The mountains are central in the center of region on the border of the states of South Darfur and Central Darfur, with the small parts of North Darfur. The highest point is Derba Caldera, and Marra Mountains range a rugged volcanic chain extending 400 miles west to southwest of Al Fashir city in western Sudan. Marra Mountain is regarded one of the most charming tourist attraction sites that attract tourists from all over the world to enjoy the fantastic beauty of the nature and temperate climate and the clean environment. Jebel Marra region possesses all tourist attraction in the important field of agriculture and enjoyable side, scene of springs, lakes, birds of diverse and rare kinds, and beautiful scenery and wildlife of all kinds, and mountains climbing. With regard to the farming, particularly horticulture, there are numerous kinds of flowers rarely found in the world. Jebel Marra hosts a big agricultural lands is famous for variety of fruits that include grapes, fig, peach, pears, oranges, and consider the best area in Sudan for growing wheat and all kinds of citrus fruits, horticulture crops and vegetables, and the world's best garlic and spices. The soil can be cultivated 3 times, 3 seasons a year due to the climate diversity. Imagine that, including the Mediterranean, the moderate and the semi-desert climates, while rains fall in all seasons of the year, permitting the growing of numerous kinds of trees, such as citrus trees, apples, and intertwined forest trees. The heavy rains provide a constant water supply for farming, making the soil suitable for growing sorghum, millet, and various kinds of fruit. There are kinds of plants in Jebel Marra region which are rarely found worldwide, and moreover, there are groups of rare animals and tame animals in thick forests and constant cataracts. There is also, most important thing, that an attractive waterfalls in Marra Mountains where there are many species of wild animals, small birds. There is the high sunny area where a rest house is found. Then we find a Radum National Park where we can find a lot of wild animals and different kinds of birds. There is another reserve park in the Wadi Hawar with its sulfur, and in the vicinity there is Kindy Lake, which is full of all sorts of birds and migrants, geese, rabbits, and deer that can run at more than 140 kilometers speed of a car. Marra Mountains region is populous with beautiful villages scattered at the top of foot of the mountain. The Green Valley is considered the most attractive area to tourists for enjoying the scenery, the moderate climate, and the clean environment and migrant birds. Until now, and despite the research and studies by many experts of geology, minerals, and earth layers, the nature and structure of Jebel Marra remain obscure. In Marra Mountain, a lot of magnificent areas that can serve as a retreats and resorts for honeymooners, as it for picnics of groups, students, and families. The region possesses such precious mineral resources beside natural resources, as well as human farming, horticulture, and forest resources. European, Arab, and local tourists used to visit the 10,000 kilometers Jebel Marra region, frequently to enjoy its Mediterranean climate and to view charming sights, springs and water flowing from the top of the mountains. Marra Mountains also is a beautiful sunny area west of the Jebel, which was visited by General Ibrahim Aboud as the first Sudanese president to visit the area after the independence. In the 1960s, the area was visited by troupe, tycoon, musicians and singers by late Muhammad Wardi to organize parties in Darfur. Inspired by the beauty of the nature there, poets made by poems that are still endowed by such renowned Sudanese singer Abu Arak al-Bakhit and Khalil Ismail. So Jebel Marra is very nice tourist location. So let's visit Jebel Marra in Sudan.
Saifuddin al-Dasuqi was born in the Arab neighborhood in Omdurman, west of the capital Khartoum in 1936. He grew up in a religious family whose roots extend to one of the Sufi houses in Sudan, and his father was a professor at the Omdurman Science Institute. Dasuqi had worked in Sudani radio and television since 1964 as broadcaster and presenter of culture programs, and was the first broadcaster in television at the time, and one his most famous programs, Samar al-Khamis. He also headed the directorship and the Friday department at Saudi Riyadh, and then worked as director of the Sudanese Egyptian Wadi Nil radio in Sudan. Dasuqi began to organize poetry early with the encouragement of his father and was able to memorize poetry bands when he was only 10 years old. He then wrote a number of drama and plays in addition to many poems in Sudanese dialect and classical Arabic, and some of these poems are sung by prominent Sudanese artists, including Sayyid Khalifa, Ahmed Al-Jabri, and Ibrahim Awad. The Sudanese poet also contributed to many newspapers inside and outside Sudan, and participated in Arab radio with dozens of plays and programs. He was also one of most important participants in the Al-Marbet Poetry Festival in Baghdad in Iraq. Among the most prominent poetry collection of Dasuqi are نون والفل الأبيض، العودة إلى بغداد، زمن الأفراح الوردية، ولنا القد، حروف من دمي، الحرف الأخضر. He wrote many poems in both standard classic Arabic and in local Sudanese one. Some of these poems were composed and became lyrics sung by prominent Sudanese singers, including Sayyid Khalifa poem, أودع, and Ahmed Al-Jabri, الرسائل. His other poems include and memorize. The famous Sudanese poet Mubarak al-Maqrabi said about Dasuqi, it is a literary work, it is a lively movement that written was his blood before his pen in the century of feeling, stemming from the heart and the inspiration of Jayesh Wadafaq came to an interactive, overlapping image that express in supervisor of himself and his conscience. Finally, the Sudanese poet received the Poetry Award at Conference of the Friendship Hall in Khartoum. The scarf of Arabic poetry from Sudanese community in Cairo and a number of other authors. Saifuddin Ad-Dsugi died on January 22, 2018 in Omdurman at the age of 82 after long suffering from the disease. The Sudanese presidency called him one of pillars of poetry in the country and the Arab world. According to the Sudan news agency SUNA.
يا الخرطوم يا العندي جمال يا الخرطوم يا العندي جمال جنة رضوان طول عمري ما شفت طول عمري ما شفت مثالك في أي مكان أنا هنا شبيت يا وطني زيك ما لقيت يا وطني شبيت يا وطني زيك ما لقيت يا وطني زيك ما لقيت يا وطني في وجودي أريدك وغيابي يا وطني بتذكر فيك عهدي الصبايا بتذكر فيك عهدي الصبايا على شاطئ النيل وحبيبي الساهر معايا وحبيبي الساهر معايا ده أسمر وجميل كانت أيام يا وطن أيام يا وطني كانت أيام يا وطني زي الأحلام يا وطني كانت أيام يا وطني زي الأحلام يا وطني في وجودي أريدك غياب